Hi, Pralabh. Thank you so much for giving us time to interview. So, for the viewers, may we please request you to share your journey and your story in your own words?
Yeah, thank you so much for giving that opportunity to me. My journey started in 2017 when I decided that, I want to do GMAT. I want to study abroad, do my MBA from a good reputed school. And I think like everyone does, all the listeners as well, the way they will approach, you start with the top 10, then you realize where you stand, then you get a little more practical, do more research about the colleges, look at, beyond 10, 15, 20 colleges, and then you realize where your potential stands, what you need to get into the schools. There would be the schools that you should target, the ones that you can, if you over target, you can achieve them, kind of thing. So that's something how my journey started, realizing where I stand, standing there and realizing. And then the first and biggest thing for me too was the biggest hurdle, I'll say, was the GMAT, that I had to get it out of my way. So I gave my exam in 2017 itself. And, at that time I joined Experts Global, and it was a very good experience for me, to do work with Mayank sir, especially, and the entire team. The organized approach they followed really helped me out, in being very focused in terms of, what I need, where I stand, and what are the gaps between the two items, right? Along with that, I was working at that time as well, so taking out time was a bit challenging for me, right? But I was working 9 hours, and then 5 hours every day I would take out for my GMAT. Fortunately enough, I scored 730 in my first attempt. I gave my exam in August 2017 itself. Then I applied for the colleges that year, and next I'll get into that later on. And eventually I was able to get into my dream school, which was a big achievement, I think. And I was able to get a full scholarship. So, it was like a dream run for me, but it was full of hurdles, full of everything, which I'll be happy to share.
Okay, that's great. So, in your opinion, what are a few factors or actions that you took made all the difference?
Sure. I'll talk in broader terms, right? Because GMAT was a big part of it, but then the overall application process is in itself a big thing, I'll say, right? So getting into the dream school requires a couple things, at least a very good amount of research of colleges, and when I say research, you need to understand every factor. Are they scholarship friendly? Are they accepting the GMAT? How much weightage they give to each of the criteria? What is the demography of the people who join?
Mm.
And what is the process looks like for them? So this is the first thing. And the second is following a very organized approach. I think that's one thing that worked in my favor. I like to be organized, and being associated with Experts Global helped me to be even more organized. We had classes once a week at that time, but I knew my every single day of the week was planned, that I'm going to do these things on this day of the week, and then do my mock test on Saturday, then go to the class on Sunday,
Right.
and clarify the doubts and everything. So these two things I think helped a lot.
Okay, okay, that's great. So, with the benefit of hindsight, what are a few mistakes you think you committed in the process?
Sure. I'm glad you asked this, because, I told only the rosy picture till now. Now I'll tell you the mistakes. The biggest mistake I did, which was again in 2017, I did a good amount of research, but probably not sufficient enough. That year, I got a good GMAT, and I got admits from a couple colleges, which I wanted to get into, but I didn't plan my funding sources properly. So even though excuse me, I got into USC Marshall, Rice University, and other good universities at that time,
Yeah.
but I didn't have the funding to, proceed and do my studies at that time. I got partial scholarship, I think 50% at that time,
Right.
and I hadn't planned enough. So the biggest mistake I committed was this. And for everyone, I would like to tell, plan your funds in advance, how you want to do it. I was able to, I had an extra year with me, so I took more time and applied again by rectifying those mistakes. And I got 100% scholarship next year. at Olin, but yeah, that's one big thing.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. You've shared this mistake, and I'm sure it's going to help all the future applicants as well. So, what are a few suggestions that you would like to give the future GMAT aspirants watching this video right now?
Okay. For the GMAT aspirants, I think, okay, let me talk about the GMAT a little bit based on my understanding. Yeah, right.
Yes.
I think GMAT is a very organized exam, unlike the other exams that we have here, where the scope is not defined, the syllabus is not defined. For GMAT, you know what's going to come and the kind of questions you're going to face. And it's a very good chance that you'll face something similar unless you have a very bad day that day, right? So be super, just try to do a lot of questions, understand the exam in itself. This is GMAT. These are the kind of questions you face. Then second thing is identify your weak areas. I think there are three areas or two. I don't even remember now. Verbal and quant. I think just two, right? So for me, quant was always strong. I ended up scoring the highest possible marks as well. But verbal was my weak area. So I had to always spend extra time. I
Mm-hmm.
would have frequent conversations with Mayank sir
Right.
and try to identify that, okay, now I'm doing good in reading correction in the, sentence correction, but I'm making mistakes in the comprehension part. So how do I work on it? And I would do multiple iterations. In the next mock test, I would make sure that, I don't repeat the same mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The third and the final thing I'll say, do mock test every week or every other week,
Right. Okay.
right? And the reason I say this is it acts as a benchmark for you that where you stand 2 weeks before, you take the next test. So I think these are the three important things that everyone should be doing.
Okay. Thank you for giving your suggestions to the GMAT aspirants. So, what are a few suggestions that you will give to them regarding their MBA application?
Okay. Regarding the MBA application, it's, I think, a very cumbersome process, especially for the Indians who are not used to such kind of process. Like, people are not very used to
Yeah.
writing the essays, filling their applications in detail and expressing themselves while applying.
Right.
So, again, understand the college, understand their culture, talk to a lot of people, that always helps. Talk to the alumni, talk to the current students, and get your application reviewed once you have created the essays that, and I trust me, everyone is super nice because everyone has gone through that path. So they understand the pain that, you as a student are going through.
Right.
So just reach out to everyone, write good essays and apply to a good number of colleges with the strategy of extended, like, beyond your goal, which are like overachiever colleges, your goal and safe colleges kind of thing. That helps, I think.
Okay. Okay. That's great. So, please tell us about your MBA experience.
Okay. So in one sentence, I'll say the most fulfilling experience of my life, these 2 years, I just graduated last year. And I think the memories that I have created in these 2 years are worth almost 20 years I have in the past. So they are so enriching, my I learned so many new things so from people from different cultures. I have my best friend who is a Japanese, one is an American, one is a Peruvian guy. So, you diversify, you start to think much more broadly. As an applicant, as a, GMAT taker, you might be discouraged at multiple points. You would think, I feel like giving up. I felt same. I think everyone goes through that. But trust me, once you cross that path and you are in the MBA life,
Yes.
life is amazing. Like, it's not easy, but it's full of memories. It's very happy and enjoying for sure.
Amazing. Amazing. So, can you tell us about your experience of job search during the MBA? Like what tips would you give to the future candidates regarding that?
Yeah. Regarding the, finding a job is very unheard of, the way that's done over here in, in US,
Mhm.
especially for the Indians again,
Mhm.
because, we are more used to, we apply to a company, either the companies come to the campus. If you go to a reputed college, like I went to WashU, it's pretty reputed. I would expect that, the best of companies will come and they'll be asking for me. But that's not the case over here. You need to learn the concept of networking. And I cannot stress this thing enough. You need to learn to talk to strangers. By that, I mean, you should be, send out an email to Dikshita and say, hey, I want to chat up with you. I'm interested in your company and this is what I'm looking for. What does your company do? Those kind of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a very fun fact about me over these 2 years. When I joined my MBA life, I
Yes,
had 500 LinkedIn connections almost, but now at this point I have 1300. So I gained 800 connections in that this much time. And I can say out of those 800, I must have reached out to 5 or 600 of them and talked to more than 100 of them at least.
that's awesome.
That's how much effort it takes to get to your dream company. Even in if you want to learn about my current company, it was the company I set my eyes on at the beginning of my MBA. Like, you see some company that it aligns with your preferences, the kind of work they do, the culture they have, everything.
Right.
And Slalom fitted perfectly in that, but they were the company which never hired like direct graduates from the colleges. They
Mm-hmm.
were interested always, but they never hired. But I was like, if my eye is dead set, I'm going to do anything for it. Over the course of 2 years, I had 8 coffee chats with these people. I went through 6 rounds of interviews. And then at the end of the session, I got into this company, which was my dream company from the beginning. So it takes a lot of effort. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys here. It's never easy here. You need to learn to be motivated. You have to be a self-motivated person,
Mm-hmm.
because you'll see people are there around you to enjoy with you, but when it comes to work, you need to pick yourself up. You'll fall down every single day. You will receive hundreds of rejections at least. You'll keep applying, but yeah, networking and networking is the most important thing.
Right. Your story is really inspiring so far. It's amazing how you've actually come through all those struggles and actually reached the success point you always wanted to. So, what would you like to say about your interview experience with the B schools?
I'll say I'm not so good at interviewing, so it was a challenging path for me, especially. And again, going back to my story of in 2017, I applied to 11 colleges, and I got admits from 2 of them and one waitlist. Other than that,
Mm-hmm.
but if I were, because my GMAT was never a problem. With 730, I would be able to get in all those schools. But it was the interview part that always, was holding me back. So my experience was that I didn't have the personality at that time. Not that I have now. I probably am still not as extrovert as it's required in the MBA life, maybe. But I tried to learn from every mistake. I would, try to reflect on every failed experience of interview. I would, try to talk to either people at Experts Global at that time, explain to Mayank sir and say, this is how my interview went, and I think I committed these mistakes. So people would tell me, probably you could have said something different like this.
Yeah.
It's just the way of saying that's required in MBA, and that's what they look for. You have done the tough part. So, interview is not a big hassle. That's what I'm trying to say. Just keep learning and keep, rectifying your mistakes.
Right. Okay. So, what would you like to say about your learnings from managing the application timelines?
Okay. It's funny you asked me this, because I remember it was the month of February again in 2017. I'm taking guys. And in that month, the first time I went, and I think I met some people at Experts Global. Then a week after that, I got the opportunity to sit with Mayank sir. At that time, we talked about what should be the ideal timeline. I was at a very good time. I think February and March are a good time to start thinking of the things. So when I had the conversation in February, the batch was going to start in the month of April for the GMAT, and it was going to last for, I think, 4 months roughly, right? So at that time, the conversation I had with my sir was, for 1 month, try to refresh all your concepts of 11th and 12th class. And, I did that part. Like, I like math, so that was never a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I went through all the books. I picked up all my books from 11th and 12th,
Yeah.
literally did all of the work that was needed. And then I went into the first year of the class with that base ready to build further on top of that for the GMAT exam, right? Then it helped me, of course, I remember I did the first mock test in, I think, first week of March. My score was, I think, 540 or 550 at that time.
Yes.
Then I did all these brush up sessions. Then I kept doing mock tests and I ended up at 730, and I was consistently getting 730, 740 or 720 kind of thing. So I was hovering in that range. So, I was building that confidence as well. But coming back, sorry, I gave my exam in the month of August, 10th of August. I still remember the date for that because, I everything was planned around that date. As initially I had thought that I would give my exam in the month of August. I took the date, I think, in the month of June, 2 months before, when I was sure that I'm on the right track.
Right.
In August, I come out of my exam, and at that time, I see my score. Of course, I feel happy about it. I look at the next steps at that time. I give my TOEFL within 2 weeks of that. So on 24th of August, I give my TOEFL, and so that's also done. I clear whatever is the minimum required in that as well.
Right.
And in the meantime, I had started my application process. So I had done research on the colleges, some research, and I started writing my applications in the month of September, because the deadline is starts from the first week of October till the mid of October or last week of October kind of thing.
Right.
So I had 1.5 months from with me to, write all the applications. I completed all the essays, got them reviewed by multiple people. I submitted. And November first week onwards, I started hearing back from the colleges,
That's great.
right? I got a lot of interviews. So application part came out good again as well, I guess. I got, I think, 5 or 6 interviews. So in November, I think the entire month I would stay up till 12 or 1 o'clock in the night to give the interview, as you would expect. And I think the last interview I had was on 4th of December with USC Marshall. And the week after that, I started getting the results. So
It's amazing.
um 10th of December to, almost 20th of December, I had all my results in my hand, that whether I'm selected, whether I'm waitlisted, whether I'm rejected kind of thing. So I applied in the round one, by the way. I should mention that as well,
That's amazing.
with the round one. Yeah, with round one in mind, because, I knew that if I want to have a good chance at scholarship, I need to go for the first round. But this was my journey for the entire year, starting in February, ending in the month of December.
Okay, it's a beautiful journey, like the way you've learned and grown. It's really inspiring. So coming back to the GMAT prep, what were the main GMAT resources that you used during your preparation, and what advice would you give to the future aspirants of GMAT?
Sure. I refer to three materials, I think. My 11th and 12th books for the initial part.
Right.
Then I was completely focused only on the experts global material.
Okay.
And along with that, the mock tests they have are amazing. I must say that. And, this is not to appreciate, but, I genuinely feel that the mock tests were really close to the actual GMAT that I took. And the final resource I used in the last 2.5, 3 weeks was all the mock tests
Mm.
that are freely available on the GMAT official website.
Right.
So these three materials I used, and, of course, every student has a different way, but this is what worked for me, I guess. And this is what I would suggest. Don't need to run everywhere. Just focus on the material that you have in front of you.
Okay, that's great. So, what are a few mistakes that you believe the GMAT aspirants must avoid?
Okay, that's a good question, actually. I don't know, I'm not able to predict what people make, but I can talk about some of the mistakes, minor ones that I saw people around me making. I saw myself about to do some mistakes kind of thing. People panicked a lot,
Mm-hmm.
when the score went down in one or the other mock test.
Mm-hmm.
People would be, okay, I need to do something very radically different in order to up my GMAT score. And that is not how the things work,
All right.
right? I feel that you might have one bad day at
Mm-hmm.
that time, that's it's not working. If you're consistently getting bad, then you should have a conversation. Otherwise, trust your instincts and keep going. The second mistake, I think, was people focused on their strength areas, because, people enjoy if they are good at something, isn't it? The challenging part is working on something you're not good at.
All right.
I always challenge myself. I feel some people I and some students around me I saw, didn't focus as much on their weak areas. They were feeling good. Oh my God, I'm scoring so good in this. So what the hell? I don't need anything else, right? Kind of attitude. You should be down to earth, accept your mistakes and keep learning. So I think these two mistakes everyone makes.
All right. Thank you for sharing the mistakes people must avoid. So, coming back to your journey, can you tell us about your journey post MBA? Also, we would like to know that how the pre-application experience kind of helped in the growth of your post MBA life.
Right. Okay. I think there's a direct connection between pre-MBA and post-MBA kind of life because those 2 years of MBA, they are just gone. It's like a blink of eye and they are gone.
Right.
Pre-MBA time, I was opening up to the world, and I was opening up about myself, learning to be expressive through the applications, being able to comprehend the, accent is a big part, by the way. People underestimate that, but during the interview process, that can become a problem. You get super conscious. Like if I'm talking to you, I might feel comfortable, but I remember my first conversation I had with foreigners and I was barely able to understand despite having,
Right.
having had so many foreign clients in the past. So it's a very different feeling.
All right.
So I think I got comfortable in that regard as well, talking to so many interviewers, talking to so many alumni at that time. It's helping me out in my current job as well.
All right.
Then, yeah, and final thing again is being organized. I was like okayish organized before that, but during that time I start developed the habit of putting everything on my calendar.
Um,
If I have to study at this particular time of the day, I would block that my calendar that I'm not going to do anything else. That is what I do at in my current job. Among all the meetings, I have to set some time for myself that this is the time I'm going to focus on this particular issue I'm working or this particular discussion or presentation I'm working on. So
all
yeah, learned a lot from that.
Okay, okay, that's really inspiring. It's amazing how systematic you have your scheduled activities and everything. So, is there any final message that you would like to give to the viewers?
Wow, I feel like it's a responsibility for me. People are listening to me. But yeah, I would say to everyone, trust yourself, believe in yourself the way, you have grown to the age you are at currently. You won't be able to change anything in a month, in a year or so. But avoid mistakes, develop a style of your exams, of your applications, and be very honest. I think, being honest is the biggest part to yourself and to others. Or to yourself in terms of preparation, where you stand at,
Mm.
and to others in terms of writing the application and the interview, because these people are very smart. They will find out if you are not very honest and,
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Pralabh, for interviewing with us and giving us your time. And we really enjoyed this conversation with you, and your learnings are going to benefit thousands of other students who are on the path of success. So thank you so much.
thanks to you as well. Yeah. And it's really my pleasure to be able to, connect back with the people here at Experts Global. I mean, when I saw that email, I have that personal connection with, Experts Global because it has played a big part in my journey. And
Right.
that's why I was like, I'm going to take out time irrespective. It's more than 10 o'clock here, but I was going to do anything in order to, talk to you guys and be able to share my journey so it helps. I hope really it helps some people
Sure, it
out there.
will. And your tip about, how consistency is the key, I think that is something everybody out here, like needs to understand. And
Sure.
yeah, thank you so much for giving us your time. Yeah, and take
Thank you.
care. Yep,
Yeah, you too, take care. Say my hello to my young sir as well.
that for sure. Okay,
All right. Bye bye.
bye.